Buddhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We will start with our topic as Golok Prabhu was mentioning. The topic for tonight is something which could be relevant for many of us. First is mind full. Have you experienced this sometimes? Mind full. Okay. And a journey from there to mind full. Be mindful. So, being mindful is very significant, isn't it? And in our life, why do we feel, or when do we feel that the first one, which is mindful, what fills our mind? What happens? When do you feel that mind is actually full? What does that mean by mind is full? Means mind is overwhelmed with something. Mind is burdened with something. Have you had that experience? Mind is a bit overburdened. Okay. Can you give an example? One reason why the mind may become overwhelmed, burdened. Give me one example. Anyone? Work. Okay. I'm going to capture your points here. One, mind can be full. Work. Okay. Then. Results. Oh, exam. Oh my goodness. Yeah, don't tell me that. I deal with many students, and exam stress. Not the exam stress, then the result stress, right? So the exam, the study, exam, exam, results, all those kind of things. Definitely, that can be something which can stress. Anything more? Yes, you are telling something.
Just a to-do list.
To-do list. Okay, I'm sure you have a big to-do list. I see that before you come here, to-do list. Overwhelming tasks. Okay. Overwhelming tasks, one after another. Then, only for few people? Usually if we ask this question, the board has to be filled, right? Because it's unlimited. So many things. Okay, who else want to go? Expectations. Okay, expectations. Isn't it a big one, right? Expectations, yeah. Expectations. Anything more? Going with the trend. Okay. You had to be trendy, yeah? Going with the trend. So there is some kind of pressure which is added onto ourselves when we try to chase externally for something. How about you? Competition. Oh my goodness. It's again a big one, right? Compete. Compete for everything. That is this life all about. Everything competition. Work. If you want to get a job, there is competition. After getting a job, there is competition. Right? Every step there is competition. I'm coming from Melbourne, so I was speaking to a few parents, and they were mentioning that they put their kids' name in the school, so they kind of registered for the admission when the kid was born. Can you imagine? because it's so competitive in that suburb in a particular school. So by the time the kid was born, already been registered for the school. I thought, okay, this is far out, isn't it? Because the kid is just born. By then, okay, already we had to register for the school admission. Wow. So definitely that is something significant. Anything more from back? Aims, goals, right? That's what I mean, right? Aims, goals. That is there. Our aims, goals, ambitions, right? So many things. And everything is piling upon us. And that's how we become mindful. Now mind is full. And I didn't hear anything from the kids. Okay, kids are all the way back, I think, so it'll be difficult. Okay, no worries. Bills. Okay, thank you very much. That's a big one, right? No one told that, right? So that's again the reality is hitting us, right? The bills, we need to, the dollar sign, all directions, right? Here, and sometimes head is like that. In all directions, we see the dollar signs, right? So this is definitely an issue. So this is our mind is full, and here we are. A person is standing here. Boom, 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 and the mind, ooh, not very happy. Why? Because mind is loaded with so many things, right? It's everything is applying pressure on our dear friend. It can be ourselves, right? Yes. Social media. Wow. In social media, what happens? Everyone tend to post something which is very good. And we tend to think that the whole world is doing very well. And what's wrong with me? But the reality is, all 99 things which are not going good, nobody is going to post. But one good thing they will post, and we think that, look, why am I suffering? The whole world is enjoying like anything. So there is even a book published. It is called The Big Disconnect. It's about social media. It's showing that it's not really connecting, rather it is disconnecting. You have how many? 10,000 friends, but when you need someone to really speak, you have none. Right? So social media, it can have a pressure on us. I remember we had a very beautiful meal one time, or most of all the time actually we have good meals. But we had a program like this, and we had a very beautiful meal, all international cuisine, a beautiful plate served to everyone. So started eating, and a boy next to me started eating, and after some time he was very disappointed. Oh no, he was like, oh, I asked, said, yeah, what happened? He said, look, I did the biggest mistake. I said, oh yeah, what happened? Just tell me. He said, it is with the food. Before start eating, I forgot to take a picture and put in the social media. So I just wasted this meal. I haven't seen such a beautiful meal before. It is so colorful, so attractive, but I forgot to take the photo and post it on social media. It's really, I wasted this meal. Completely I wasted my meal. Can you imagine? So this is the kind of things we are dealing with. So good, thank you for bringing that up. And I thought, okay, this is very interesting. It is very interesting to think how people are thinking in this way, where people cannot really enjoy something which is right in front of us, rather worrying something else. So it is not about, yes?
Caring for the family, parents.
Okay, caring, okay, that's true. Even the caring in itself is not very easy. Isn't it true? Caring, that's a big industry in itself now, right? Caring is an industry, right? Previously it was all about family, now caring is an industry. Relationship, yeah, definitely. Relationships. It's a big one. relationships. So when the mind is full, when it is overwhelming, we have difficulties. I remember I go to street and meet random people and distribute Bhagavad Gita. Most of you know Bhagavad Gita is a 5,000-year-old spiritual text spoken by Krishna. So that is the origin of yoga, meditation, all these kind of things, written in Sanskrit language, of course translated and explained. We have many copies. So I go to the street, I stop random people on Swanston Street in Melbourne. I'll tell, I'm a monk. Okay, so we introduce ourselves and tell, here is a copy of Bhagavad Gita. Would you like to have a copy of Bhagavad Gita? So, distribution of knowledge to random people. I don't know them. And I do that throughout Australia, at least for a month, end of the year. Go to pretty much cover as many states as possible and go to the streets, go to the shopping mall and distribute books and help them to go deeper in their life. So I remember this happened, I don't know, many years back. I went to the street, Swanston Street in Melbourne, and I stopped a young man. So he's an overseas student. So I asked him, okay, here is a copy of Bhagavad Gita. That's how we started the conversation. Immediately he started sharing his story. So this happens most of the time, even though we are unknown, we don't know each other, but people all of a sudden they start opening up the book of their life. So he said, look, I'm really going through such a difficult time in my life. I said, okay, what happened? Then he told his story and it was an eye-opener for me. He said, I came a few years back as an international student to study in Melbourne, and one day I went to the casino because Melbourne is known for the casino. I went to the casino and I threw some money in one of the gambling machines, and in short time I earned few thousands of dollars. I got a few thousands of dollars, early win. He said, I was so happy. Then I decided this is the way to go. I must invest in gambling. I remember when I came to Melbourne, this was 23 years back. I didn't know anyone here. So one of the person I met him, he said, a roommate, I will show you around Melbourne. So part of the holy pilgrimage was to casino and how to use the machines. So I didn't go after that, but he showed, yeah, this is how it is. You can just have fun. So this young man, he started going and he had an early win for a few thousands of dollars and he was very happy. Then he started putting regularly money into gambling. Then what happened? He started losing. There was an early win. After that, it was all loss. By the time he got addicted to gambling, so he lost a lot of money. Whatever he gained, he lost all of them and he went overboard. Now he's thinking, if I put any money, I can recover my loss. He started pouring whatever he's getting, and it came to a point he became so addicted. He's telling me, this is on the street, okay? He's telling, I became so addicted that I got thousands of dollars from my parents to pay fee in the uni. And it was uncontrollable for me. I threw that money into gambling and I lost all. Nothing left. He said, I felt so miserable and I tried to commit suicide. But I didn't die. Can you imagine? This is just on the street and it was like, oh my goodness. Then he said about his girlfriend and what he went through, the whole thing. And he was telling, if you give me $100, I will go and I will spend money in the casino. House always wins. That's the reality, right? So is completely captured by this. So he was seeking help. Of course, we can help in any condition with knowledge, right practices, and right association. So I have seen. So this is how it is. Life is like that. Things can start as something which is very innocent, and that can become serious in our life. So I was thinking about this boy, how difficult it is. This is how it is. This is how life is. I'll tell you another story. It's interesting because this is about a monk. Okay, he wasn't a monk. He became a monk and he shared his story how he became a monk, and it was interesting. A young man, he was born into a very wealthy family. When he was just turned 18 in America, he was living in LA, in Los Angeles. He had his first sports car. So you can imagine he was quite wealthy. Wealthy family, business family, they were doing everything good, very good life, everything expensive, posh, everything. However, all their business failed in one go. Can you imagine? Everything failed. Everything collapsed. And being super rich, they came to a standard of a mediocre middle class life. From there to here. They had something to eat, they had a shelter, that they're okay. But they couldn't handle this. The family couldn't handle this. They were thinking they cannot have the same social circle. They cannot have the same suburb in which they were living before. Things are okay, they can live a life. But this affected them so much so that this young man was telling they had to leave the country. They couldn't live in LA anymore. They went to much a third world practically just to recover from what they went through, because they couldn't face the country, they couldn't face the people, and they went there. And he was telling, first time I experienced that I cannot make a direct call from a phone to America. You had to book for a call, can you imagine? Because the country is third world and you didn't have even such connections. A years back story though. And then he was telling, then they moved back to America, and then he came in touch with a copy of Bhagavad Gita, spiritual wisdom. Then he understood, oh, life is not all about the social circle and status and how much money we have. The happiness has nothing to do with any of this thing external. Then he pursued his life into spirituality. So he was sharing his story, how difficult it was without deeper spiritual wisdom and just attached to material comforts and going through intense suffering when things are not going the way we want or we are expected to. Because material world is not exactly designed to go the way we want. But inside we have a lot of freedom. We have freedom for happiness. There's no doubt about it. That's why we're here. So this comes to the point that in life, many situations can put us in a situation where there's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and that will lead to many kinds of negative emotions. Yes? So it's not the problem having so many thoughts in the mind, but when everything adds up and everything turns out to be negative, that is putting pressure. For example, if one is quite down, a little depressed, then what happens? We tend to think that no, nothing is going to go right. Is it true? Sometimes we think nothing is going to go right. Everything is going to be bad. This is the creation of the mind. So that's why worrying mechanism acts in this way. Worrying, as it is said, worrying is like a rocking chair. You can rock the chair as long as you want, but you will not even move an inch. You will stay wherever you are. Worrying is like that. The mind is encircling the same thoughts, but it's not taking us anywhere. So the mind, how mind functions is very important. Mind will take us to the past. It will bring in the past to the present, and we get caught up in the past. So one important point to understand is past is now coming into now. Now the current movement is now the past, and we are worrying about the past. Why did that happen? Why did he speak like that? Why did she do like this? Can you imagine? And there are so many things that happen from the past. Everything is brought to the present now. Second, the mind is very expert in having projection into the future. What kind of projection? Wrong projection. And we think, oh, if this happens, if that happens. So again, from now, what happens? We have, it's not the future actually, it's actually projected future. From projected future, that is, or imagined future, is coming to now. And what are we losing? Present. Because if we want to do anything, what do we have? We have presence. We have present and we have presence. But we lose it. Why? We are either dwelling our mind in the past or in the future. According to Bhagavad Gita, according to the three modes of material nature, dwelling into the future, this is considered the mode of passion. Have you heard this terminology? The mode of passion. Mode of passion. Mode of passion. And being in the past, do you know what it is? Mode of ignorance. That's right. Mode of ignorance. So, in the passion, we think about the future. In ignorance, we worry about the past. And in both, we are losing the present. Because we can only deal with the present. We cannot do anything with the future. Nor can we do anything with the past. We can only deal with the present. And the most valuable present, we are going to lose. So this is how our mind functions. Because it is under the material modes. So we need to be quite careful how we are actually dealing with our mind, and it is better catch ourselves. In fact, a study was done, a scientific study about the mechanism of worrying. So it was found out that we worry about many things, like it's common, if that happens, if that happens, if the other thing, we think so many things. It was found that 90%, okay, not small percentage, 90% of the things that we worry, that will never happen. Can you imagine? It's a big percentage. 90% of worries, it is not going to happen. This is a general studies on average percentage. 90% it is not going to happen. Not finished. And of whatever percentage, whatever happens, okay, whatever things we are worrying and what is really going to happen in our life, of which 90% we can deal with. We can deal with 90% of them. So only 90% doesn't happen. What is remaining is 10%. And in that 10%, 90% we can deal with. Then what is left with? It's only 10% of the rest, which is, we are talking about only 1% is the real worry. Can you imagine? Please understand. In other words, of the 100% of things or 100 things we are worrying about, the real worry is going to be only one thing. Rest 99% simply it's waste of time. It is called the imagination of the mind. Can you see how mind is trapping us? So it is always good to see that these things are not really true. The mind is really making this up. So, actually 1% is real worry. Not of the 100, only one, not everything. So it is good to know these kind of things so that we don't simply get caught up in the worrying mechanism and we can catch ourselves. Now, this is not the right thing I'm doing. I have to be a bit more careful. I have to go a little bit more deeper. I need to know more. So that comes to a point in our life where usually I say, last night I was giving a talk in Launceston and I had quite a few people, actually a number of 8 or 10 participants were probably in 8 or 10, they're in their 60s or maybe 60s, 65 to 70 kind of, about 10 people, at least 10, Seeing them, I started thinking, oh, is it going to be relevant to them? Because the topic was from burnout to balance. So I was thinking, for these people, I don't think this is going to be relevant because they have gone through their life. They know what is burnout. They're above this. They can deal with that. They have gone through their life. So I was thinking, this may not be very relevant to them. So as I was speaking, they were quite receptive along with all others, younger ones. I was thinking, for the younger ones, it's very relevant. The older people, it's not relevant. This was I was thinking, it's going to make sense to them because they know how to deal with life. At the end, I really wanted to speak to them because I really wanted to hear what did they think about the talk. So I spoke to one older gentleman and he told me, thank you very much. Oh, I was thinking, oh, really? I thought, you know how to deal with the life because you've gone through your life. You know probably better than me. Then he told, look, the things what I am going through. He was telling about his situation, his wife's situation, mostly related to health and other stressors. He was telling, it's just too intense. Oh, then similarly, I spoke to a few people. Then I understood. This is not only for young ones. It's relevant for everyone because the mind can give us trouble any point in our life. Is it true? Even teenagers have to deal with problems. Previously, I asked this question, which age group will have most of the problems in terms of the stress and anxiety in the current society? What was the common answer? People told different answers, but many people tend to stick to an age group from 40 to 50. You remember yesterday? 40 to 50. These are the people who are going through the most stress. But it's not true. Those who are even late teens to 20s, there are a lot of stress. So things have changed. It's not just for one age group, but it is actually coming down. It is relevant to many. That's why it is good to think about these kind of things. And especially if one is young, it's better. Because then we have some tools to carry on and we can actually recognize if we are going through a problem. Because many times we don't even recognize the problems. And I have spoken to people because I know them for quite a long time and I know he's going through some problem. I really know. And I can feel it because how they speak, how they respond, we know there is something not right. But when we ask, never ready to admit. It's a problem. So it is good to admit, okay, we have a problem, I need to deal with it. You know what I mean? It's good to accept if something is there. And personally, for all of us, when there are issues, we need to accept. It's good. And then move forward. Any comments so far before we go any further? Before looking into solutions.
I guess anxiety and trauma. Trauma's the past, anxiety's the future. Would that be a fair comment?
Trauma can be from the past, definitely. However, in my understanding, generally I use it's a traumatic as a bit more intense than a general kind of anxiety. So trauma can be from the past, definitely. we know the post-traumatic symptoms, so many issues are there, so many things we deal with. Yes, definitely traumas are from the past. Yes. So anxiety doesn't mean it's future. Anxiety can be current, or anxiety can be from the past as well. So anxiety is a very common terminology here. Anything further? Anyone? Or shall we go a little bit more into the solutions now? We discussed a lot of problems. If I leave you like that, it's a depressing evening, right? We are all talking about some problems, but no. There is very, very significant things that we need to consider in this regard when it comes to solutions. So generally, when we need some solutions, that's what I was thinking. Before getting into the solution, just let's try to see our life in 3 phases. One is relaxed phase. Have you experienced relaxed time? Relaxed. Oh, things are going all right. It's cruising. It's okay. Some phase, sometime, hopefully, we'll have some relaxed phase of life where we don't have much anxiety, nothing to worry. Things are just moving, flowing. Yes? Everyone had some kind of that kind of time. Then there is stretched zone. Have you experienced stretched zone? So many things going on, so many ends to meet. I had to work on this, I had to work on that. I have multiple things, and we had to be active in all different directions. This is stretched. Experienced stretched zone? Anyone going through stretched zone? Yes? I can put my hand up. Yes, there is stretched zone. Then there is one more. It's not just stretched zone, which is, it's overstretched zone. So there is relaxed, there is stretched, and there is overstretched. And here we need a balance of relaxed and overstretched. Stretched can be okay. Some stretch is okay because it's healthy to be a little bit stretched, so that we will not be lazy. No, we will take it for granted. We'll do things, we'll be active. That's okay. All good. There are things enough. There are sufficient challenges, which is okay. But if you are in the overstretched zone for long enough, there's a chance of snapping, right? It can be tough. So overstretched zone, when it continues, we need to be mindful. We had to be careful about it. Right? We had to be careful about it. Even for me, I'm a monk. I have also a big to-do list, and there are many expectations. You can hear the problems sometimes from what I have to hear. So there are expectations that I'm going to give a solution, or I'm there for many people. It can be challenging. So when we go through the overstretched zone long enough, we had to be mindful. Okay, I need to come back to some relaxed zone. So we need to see life in these 3 ways so that we can make the right decisions. Where am I at right now? With this, we will start our journey into the solution. So in the solution, first I would request all of you to reflect on one thing. That is, what energizes you, what activities or what situation energizes you, inspires you, or what depletes your energy. Certain activities can deplete your energy, and certain activities or certain association can enliven you. So I request all of you to just be patient for 30 seconds for yourself and just reflect on this. What inspires you? What depletes your energy? Okay. Did you find some answers for yourself? Good. This is very important because now you get a hint how to enliven yourself, how to energize yourself, because this is very important in our life. We need to at least engage in some activities which are enlivening. Agree? So, good. So, keep that with you. And with that, there are two tiers of solutions, two levels of solutions that we are going to discuss. First one is for the general well-being and general practices, and the second one is more on the spiritual side. So in two levels we are going to discuss. The first one, it's very simple, very powerful, which is when there are so many things in your mind, and if you are going through that overwhelming situation, especially with too many things, just write down. Write down. So it can be just simple journaling, which is a kind of a mind dump, a free writing. That is, to start with, free writing is only rule of free writing is pen should move. That is the only, don't think. The pen will think for you. This is the principle of free writing. The principle of free writing is pen will think for you. You just keep writing. Let everything come out. Okay? So this is one way of writing. Second way of writing is focused writing. In the focused writing, we can write what exactly bothers you. What is actually, the state of your mind, what exactly is going through, just put it on a piece of paper. Anyone tried this? I have tried, yeah. Does that help?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can see a physical.
Exactly. In this, there is a spiritual basis to this as well. It's not just a material things. Well, it is material, but there's a spiritual basis to this according to Bhagavad Gita. Because when we are putting it out there, when you are just being yourself, and when you do this, better to be yourself, and better to be away from everyone else. Be in your room where you will not get disturbed by anyone, or in the nature where you feel that, look, I have nothing to do with anyone at this point in time. I am just working on myself. So, as part of our planning is having some time for ourselves. When we make the schedule, we allot time for so many things, this work, that work, but where is the time that is allotted for our own self? So this is one activity in which you allot time for yourself. This is one thing. So in this, what happens? We are separating ourselves from the problems. We are putting it out. Currently, I am the problems. I am full of problems. Rather, now we are creating a distance between ourselves and the problems. And when there is that safe distance, one can deal with the problem. One can work on the problems. Can you see? So that distance always helps. Otherwise, the mind is full of problems. So when you take it out of the chest and put it out there, okay, now I can see the problems and I can work on them. So that's a relief to start with. So in this process, according to Bhagavad Gita, as a starting thing, what's happening is we are starting on the point of reflection, right? In this process, there is reflection. And in reflection, we are actually separating ourselves from the continuing thought process in the mind, and so we are allowing ourselves to be in the mode of reflection. Is not in the mode of ignorance. Which mode is working when we are reflecting? Mode of passion. Mode of passion is worrying about the future. Mode of ignorance is worrying about the past. Then being present and reflecting, understanding what is going on now. What mode is it? Mode of goodness. Can you see? So this is allowing ourselves to be in the mode of goodness. So this kind of reflection is useful because we are using a pen and a paper, but effectively we are doing reflection, and the pen and paper is our assistants, and so we are allowing ourselves to be in the mode of goodness. So the Bhagavad Gita 14th chapter explains 3 modes. So this is a way we can actually begin the mode of goodness. This is not the end of it, but that's the beginning. Make sense? Now, this is one aspect, that is writing it. Second is being with right-minded people and discussing, talking. Does that help? Have you had that experience? If you're going through something and speaking to someone who is non-judgmental, who is quite open to hear, have you had such kind of a discussion? Is that helpful? Right. So this is another one where we are seeking right association. So this here is reflection through probably writing, journaling. And this is one to start with. Second, good association, good company, where we can reveal our heart. It's also very important. As we discussed earlier, the social media, we have 10,000 likes, but there's no one to speak to. We need to be real people, where if we have a problem, we need someone who we can actually go and speak to. And that person doesn't have to give the solution in itself. Doesn't have to be a psychologist and giving the right solution. No, just hear. That's enough, right? That in itself is quite helpful. So that's all we need. In this world, even that is becoming quite rare. So these are the 2 things which can be quite helpful to start. In both, what happens is effectively, instead of from the worrying mechanism, from the mode of passion, ignorance, etc., we are kind of coming to goodness. Goodness means we can see things as they are. This is called the mode of goodness. When mind is in the mode of goodness, we can see things as they are. We can see a problem as problem, and we can see something which is good as good. In ignorance, we cannot see that. In ignorance, something which is very bad, we think it is very good. Passion, the same thing. Cannot really see things. For example, to give an example of the mode of passion, don't think about the passion as our usual English meaning of passion. Look, I'm passionate about music. Not about that. So the mode of passion has its own terminology, Rajogun in Sanskrit, which means that in the mode of passion means one is dissatisfied no matter what. There is no reason for dissatisfaction. Can you see? If you get something, yeah, I got it. What's next? And if you see something, yeah, problem, yeah, it's problem there. It's a problem there. It's a problem there. You find problem everywhere. As you are pointing one finger out there, 3 fingers are pointing to yourself. Can you see that? So this is what goes on. This is a mode of passion. In the mode of passion, the nature of the mode of passion is dissatisfaction. Like in corporate career, people are encouraged, you go up in the career, no matter what, you go up. Where you go, any level you go, still not enough, dissatisfied. So this is not really very helpful, very harmful, right? So in good association here, we are more coming to the mode of goodness where we can see things as they are. And this is a good platform to go deeper into the spiritual life. So what is that spiritual life? What are we speaking about here? We understand that, look, if my mobile phone is not functioning properly, maybe all its hardware, the chip, the memory, everything, screen, everything is looking good, but it's malfunctioning. Hardware, everything is good. Then where is the problem? Software is the problem. OS is the problem, right? Similarly, we can have externally everything can be good, but the software is the problem. That is the mind. Mindful. Mind is full with negativities and difficult to deal with. So we started with the solution, but Bhagavad Gita goes much deeper than this. So Bhagavad Gita gives us a deeper understanding. Bhagavad Gita gives us an understanding that even though we have problem in the mind, Bhagavad Gita says that we are not the mind. Okay. We have the mind, but we are not the mind. So this is the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Because Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, wherein Bhagavad Gita was spoken, it was a very traumatic situation. Where Arjuna, the main warrior, the main person on the battlefield, he had to fight for righteousness against his own relatives, his own kinsmen, and he was traumatized. And he dropped his bow and arrow, and he was seeking help from Arjuna. So from Krishna, thank you. So Arjuna was seeking help from Krishna. And the first teaching that was imparted by Krishna to Arjuna is this, that we are not the mind, we are something better than the mind. Can you imagine? We are something better than the mind. I can draw this diagram. When we talk about our existence, on one level, our existence is, what do we see each other? We see the physical body. Do you agree? We see the physical body. This is body and senses. This is what we see generally, right? That's what we see. However, if we go further, we can see that this body is changing all the time. Have you experienced? Body is changing. We can go back to our mom. When I go home, they show the old album where I can see I was crawling at one point in my life. And even I cannot recognize myself. Is it me? It's like that, right? So the body is changing all the time. Now and in the future, body is changing. So this is showing that our existence is not limited to the body. We are something deeper. You agree? So that comes to a bit more of a existence which is a bit more deeper than the gross body, and that is, we have one more existence, not just the body but the mind. So mind, the mind, intelligence, ego, these are all included in the subtle body. So that we cannot see. We can experience, but we cannot see. But this is also about our existence. Now, even deeper than this, what's our existence all about? Okay, so here we have the self. And the self is completely different from the mind, body, senses, etc. And what is that self? Okay, I will tell you. That self is the spiritual self. But what is spiritual self? Okay, good. Very good answer. Okay, when we talk about the spiritual self is conscious. Do you agree? The spiritual self is conscious. Anything more? What are the other qualities?
Self is the observance, observing the change.
You're observing the so it is separate. Observing the changes means separate from the mind, separate from the body. So in other words, we are separate from the problems. Is it a good news? It's a good news, right? The problems are in the mind, but we are not the problems. We are completely separate from the mind. Okay, then one, we are conscious. What else? Fully present. in the original situation. We are fully present. I will write fully present, conscious and fully present. Anything more? Fully present. Anything more? We like to be spiritual. So what is that spirit all about? What are the qualities of the spirit? What does qualitatively how we are different from the matter? Eternal. Agree? Body has a birth date and probably a death date. That's a body, right? But for the spirit, no birth, no death. In other words, we have no birth, no death. Body has a birth as well as death, but we don't die. Body dies, but we don't die. This is the beginning teaching of Bhagavad Gita. So we are eternal. What more? Who is that? Enjoyment, bliss. Isn't it a good news? Bliss is or happiness is our birthright, eternal birthright. Even the body is not our birthright, but enjoyment, the bliss is our birthright. We are meant to be blissful. And one more. Actually, we can write two more. What else? Yes. Huh? Compassionate. Yes, that comes in the general qualities, but not the specific qualities here. Specific qualities. Peace. Peace is actually a bit, what can I say? People do talk a lot about the peace. Actually, peace is only a precursor to real happiness. If we are not peaceful, there is no happiness. So Bhagavad Gita says, Ashantasya kuto sukham. Ashantasya, if the mind is not peaceful, then what is the question of happiness? Can you tell me what is the definition of peace? What is meant by peace? The Bhagavad Gita definition. What is peace? If there is no war, we will tell, okay, now everything is peaceful. Right? But when we ask about peace within the mind, how can we define peace? Any thoughts?
I guess things are fighting each other.
Okay, yeah.
The mind being full isn't kind of.
Yes, good. Actually, the definition of peace is when the mind and senses are not demanding, then we say it is peaceful. If the mind is demanding, give me this, give me the other thing, or agitated, then no peace. Otherwise, it's peaceful. Can you see? And the peace is only a precursor to real happiness. So that's what is written. The nature of the soul or the spiritual self is bliss, and the spiritual self is knowledge, wisdom. We have wisdom internally. And also one more, personality. We have eternal personality. Can you see? These are the prime characteristics of the self who is separate from body, mind, all the problems, all negativities. So this is the step one. We at least theoretically understand that we have nothing to do with all these problems in our real position. Even though now we are dealing with those problems, but ultimately we have nothing to do with that. Is it a good news? In fact, I remember one of my friends, a monk, he was giving a talk in one of the universities in America, so a classroom full of students, and he gave the talk, he went, and 1 year later, he came back. And then one student came up to him, and I want to thank you. So he said, okay, thank you. So he thought, okay, the lecture, yeah, how was the talk? It was helpful, but not for today's lecture, but for your talk 1 year back. Okay, I said, okay, I can't even remember what I spoke 1 year back. Thank you for that anyway. So he said, I was ready to take my life. I was ready to commit suicide. And before committing suicide, I made up my mind, everything was ready. before committing suicide, I thought I was walking and I saw a monk speaking. So I thought maybe I will hear before committing suicide. Real story. And this happened a few years back. And he heard the talk, then he understood, even though I have decided to commit suicide because so much is going on in my mind, but from this talk, at least I understood one thing, that I am not the mind. I have the mind has a lot of problems, but in a deeper sense, I am not the mind, I am using the mind. So there is no point in committing suicide. He said, after knowing this, I just went home and just started playing my guitar and just started singing hours together. And then somehow or other I survived, and I looked at online more, I learned more about things, and now I am back. Can you imagine? So this is actually a big thing. And then eventually he took more into spiritual life, tried to understand more, because he could understand that there is a solution beyond the nature of the mind. Here, if you see, in this, what is spiritual? Is the body and the senses, are they spiritual? No. Is the mind spiritual? Is the mind spiritual? Mind is also not spiritual. Mind is only a tool, a material tool, a subtle tool. Mind is only a subtle tool which can be used. So the only spiritual element is the spiritual self, who we are. In Sanskrit, it's called, the qualities of soul is called Satchidananda. Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. Sat Ananda means eternal, knowledgeable, blissful, and having an identity. That's our real nature. So understanding this is very significant, and then comes to the point, how can we realize this? Okay, we can write. It's good to, not very difficult to draw a diagram and explain. But realizing that I am a spiritual self and I have the bliss within, how do we realize this? So that's where we did the chanting before. We did the kirtan, and we will be doing, we'll ending up with a kirtan too. So this is chanting of mantra. Here we have the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna Mahamantra, these mantras are spiritual sound vibration which will help us to realize who we really are. Mantra, Sanskrit mantra means mana trayate iti mantra. That is the Sanskrit definition of mantra. Mana means mind. It's very similar to English. Mana means mind. That's it. Trayate means that which transcend. So that which transcend the mind. Because the mind is now completely in material consciousness, and that's why going through so many issues which are, mind is full, but from there we can move to being mindful. How do we practice mindfulness? By mindful chanting. When we are mindful, when we are present while chanting, we are allowing ourselves to be in connection to the spiritual sound vibration. Naturally, our consciousness gets elevated, and we feel that even though I am amidst all these problems, I am okay. All of us, whoever is chanting regularly, we all have this experience. Whoever does this mantra meditation, we all have this experience. Even though there are problems, and even though it can be difficult to deal with, but we feel that it's all right. Because naturally these problems don't become big problems. I give this example. Yesterday I was giving this example of a flight taking off. From Melbourne, as that flight is taking off, when I'm up in the sky, as I go, when I see Melbourne, all big skyscrapers, they become just like matchboxes. And the cars which are running in the freeway, they look like toy cars. Have their dimensions changed actually? No. But our perception has changed. Similarly, when we take up to mantra meditation, spiritual practices, what happens? The problems become smaller. We think, oh, that's all right. I can deal with that. So this is what is required. So for a spiritual practitioner, especially when we chant, many times, when many things come upon us, it can be overwhelming. But as we go through the mantra, what happens? We feel, yeah, it's all right. I can deal with that. It's not a big deal. So this is the realization we get. And if you advance further, it is not just avoiding the negativities, one can experience positive bliss, because mantra is connecting the individual self to the Supreme Self. It is connecting the soul to Super Soul. It's connecting to Krishna. So that connection actually gives real pleasure. So when we talk about mindful, being mindful, people think that mindful is just being present. It's not just that. It's more than that. Being present in touch with the reality. Because one can be, even a terrorist can be mindful. Is it true? Even a terrorist can be mindful, being on the job, doing the thing. But that's not what we are speaking about. We are talking about being in the reality. Being in the reality means being in touch with who we really are, the spiritual self. Being in touch with who we belong to, the supreme spiritual self, Krishna. Being in touch with that is actually being really mindful. Then naturally we experience happiness which is within. It's not outside. It's within. We experience. Naturally we feel, it's feeling good. So this is what we have, and it's very, very simple. Now soon we will have chanting and dancing for some time, which will be followed by prasadam, the spiritual food. So in all these activities, we are connecting together on the spiritual platform. So that is the real mindfulness, where mind getting in touch with the spiritual reality. There is internal transformation. So with this, I conclude, and we can see that today's discussion we started with all different stressors that come to us, and a step forward, we can get in touch with goodness by putting out the problems in the form of writing, talking to people, keeping a distance, and the real distance is experienced from the problems, as well as we can experience the real bliss coming in touch with spiritual reality through the process of chanting, through the process of good association, through the process of having spiritual food, etc. So basically it is an experiential learning technique, because we need to experience this. This is theory, but we need to experience this. And that's why we are coming together. Say roughly once a month we come together, we have association here. And also those who are serious, we do weekly Bhagavad Gita classes, right? Golak Prabhu at his place, he offers his place to teach Bhagavad Gita on a weekly basis and do some kirtan and food, etc. on a weekly basis. So we have such opportunity here in Hobart. So I thank all of you for patiently listening and contributing. And I would like to hear, are there any questions, any comments directly related to this or anything else? It doesn't matter. Any questions or any comments so far? Yes.
Just in regards to the different natures of the soul, you mentioned their wisdom.
Yes.
How does that relate to our personality, or is it something separate from our personality?
You mean the wisdom, is it separate from us? Okay. So the soul or our real self has spiritual wisdom, has spiritual knowledge. At this point, it's not necessarily functioning fully. That's why if you're born, we are sent to the kinder, to the school, etc. because we don't know. However, in our original state as a spiritual self, the wisdom is already there. It is a spiritual wisdom.
Is that like inner guru, that the inner guru?
Inner guru. Inner guru, that terminology is used in a different context. So for example, when we have the spiritual knowledge and when we have some realization of the spiritual knowledge, we can say we can take guidance based on that from within. That is one level. But here, this is a constitutional wisdom that the spirit soul has. It's a constitutional, intrinsic nature of the spirit soul to have wisdom. Does that make sense? It's the intrinsic nature of the spirit soul, just like the intrinsic nature of water is to flow, intrinsic nature of sugar is to be sweet. We see the sugar is very hot, spicy, it doesn't make any sense. Similarly, the soul's intrinsic nature is to have wisdom. That's what he's speaking about here.
But I'm just thinking, is it separate to us? Because sometimes the intuition can feel like it's, you know, you're having a conversation.
Okay, good. The intuition. So that's a different thing. So we are not talking about intuition here when we are talking about wisdom. Intuition, especially intuition, is a process that happens now. That this is on the realized spiritual platform as the spirit soul. Okay, this wisdom. Whereas intuition we can have now. So that can be, many times intuition can be of two types. One kind of intuition can be from our past experience, now it is popping out. Because we have experienced in this lifetime or in the previous lifetime, and based on that, now it's clicking. No, this is not going to work. Or this is going to work. As if we had experienced. Actually, we had experienced, probably not in this lifetime, maybe in the past lifetime. That is one kind of intuition. Second kind of intuition, that is sometimes not the soul, but the super soul can give a hint. Don't do that. It is more with the conscience. That intuition can be a feeling of conscience where we feel, no, this is not good or this is good. So these are two separate, but both can go in the intuition direction. That is separate from the wisdom which is presented here, because this is the intrinsic nature of the soul, and that get activated or that is realized when we are enlightened. It's a gradual process. So then we have the access to the knowledge because that's part of us. Okay. Any further? Any questions? Any practical questions? The practical issues that we are dealing with?
In
Yes.
what time frame one can actually achieve that state of mindfulness with the spiritual practice?
Okay, the spiritual practice. It is said the spiritual perfection one can obtain in a fraction of a second or in many, many lifetimes. It can be achieved in even a fraction of a second or after many, many lifetimes. It is dependent only on us. It is like how much you eat is generally dependent on your hunger, your capacity. Similarly, how soon we want spiritual growth, it is dependent on our appetite. Our appetite. If you feel, if I have a strong desire, then one can have more. That's all. It's not bound by anything. It's mentioned in Bhakti Yoga. The first thing to have, what is the qualification to Bhakti Yoga? Not flexible body. Desire to do it. That's all. That's the only qualification, desire. Srila Prabhupada explained. What do you need? Desire. If you want to be enlightened, what do you need? Desire. If you have a strong desire, things will flow. You'll get to the right people. You'll get the right knowledge. Things will happen. And if you don't have the desire, you can be amidst all the right people, amidst all the knowledge, but nothing will happen. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Oh. Yes, okay. Yes.
How do we know we are separate, and how do I feel that I have a soul realization
How do we realize that we have a realization
of the soul?
of the soul? So if we are enlightened, whether we have the soul realization, we don't need to ask 10 people. It will be open to you. It will be clear to you. We don't need to ask 10 people, how am I realized or not? I have a doubt, am I realized or not? If you have that doubt, means we are not realized. You understand? It's like if the light is on the face, then we will not ask, is it light or is it darkness? Do we ask? No. If the light is on our face, sun is on our face, is it darkness or is it light? No, we don't ask, because you are right in front of the light. Similarly, the soul realization happens gradually. It's not all or nothing. This realization is also gradual. So that you will experience yourself. And as you experience, you can see it is a gradual process, and you can experience. I am acting more like a spirit soul. I am experiencing the joy blissfully, progressively. Not everything. It's not like, one day I got up in the morning, oh, I'm an enlightened being. Till last night I was completely dumped. Now today morning I'm an enlightened being. What happened? I got up in the morning. That's all. It doesn't work like that. It's not like, somebody hit the hammer and suddenly enlightened. It doesn't work like that. So it's a gradual process. We can experience. So for example, just give you a simple example. Since we practice chanting, we practice spirituality, those who have bad habits, for example, some of the non-productive habits, they go away, and we feel even without that I am all doing good. I have lost that taste. Can you imagine? I know, say for example, we don't recommend meat eating because it involves pain. Simple as that. Now I have people who were really addicted to meat eating. And I will not tell them, okay, you stop meat now. I'm not going to tell that because they cannot do it. Rather, when they start the spiritual process, one day they will come and tell me, I feel disgusting eating meat. How is that? This is called transformation. So one is getting closer. The taste changes. It happens naturally. It's not by force. It happens naturally because it is called the principle of higher taste. So when we experience higher taste within, lower taste just go away. So we are in that journey. Initially, even chanting one mantra becomes very difficult. Oh, 1 minute of chanting, too much, I don't have any time. After sometimes, even 2 hours of chanting, no problem. I can chant 2 hours or 3 hours, no problem. So one is developing the taste. So spirituality is based on developing the taste, not just by suppression, not by imagination. It will not work. We cannot handle that. It's only for a short time. When it's based on taste, then okay, all good. So, yeah. Okay, thank you. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.